Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. 2 games on the docket for Sunday to round out week 6. There's some pretty good games too, so let's go ahead and talk about them. Alright, so preview number 1, we have a matinee game. It is a 3:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network. The 2-2 Green Bay Blizzard traveling northeast to take on the 2-2 Massachusetts Pirates. So after this one, someone is going to be 3-2, someone is going to be 2-3. Let's preview it and see what we can figure out. Your season leaders when it comes to passing yards for Green Bay: Max Myler, 53 of 84, 578 yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kenji Bahar, 55 of 85, so really similar numbers, 514 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. Rushing leaders: Kamani Clark, 36 carries, 160 yards, 9 touchdowns, and Puka Williams, 46 carries, 133 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground. Leading receivers, believe it or not, backup quarterback TJ Davis, 10 catches, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. And for Massachusetts, Thomas Owens, 13 catches, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. It's a lot of injuries here. A lot of injuries. However, not a lot to speak of for Green Bay. And again, I have to caveat this like I did in yesterday's preview. Updates to the transactions page and stuff like that have not really gone through. Try and get as accurate as we can with this, but some guys could have gotten taken off of this. Some people could have been released. Some people could have been added. We just do not know at this point. So take these with a grain of salt. We'll do the same with the 25-man rosters. For Massachusetts, again, more of the same here. Nothing really added in the last couple of weeks. And it just kind of remains the same. Some people could have gotten taken off. People could have gotten added. We just kind of have to play it by ear with that. So this is about as accurate as we can get with it. Our game odds: 83.5 over under, and Massachusetts underdog at home plus 2.5, which means Green Bay minus 2.5. They are the favorite. And then minus 125 for Green Bay on the road, and plus 105 for Massachusetts. $10 bet nets you $10.50, $20.50 profit if you bet that money line for the Pirates. Again, 3:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network. We are at the Tsongas Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. Finally, our head-to-head features Massachusetts with a 6-3 lead. Their last meeting, these two teams last met in the 2024 Eastern Conference Championship game, so this might be a little bit of revenge when it comes to that. Massachusetts ended up winning that one pretty convincingly, 51-28. So for that, there might be some fun fireworks when it comes to this one, but we'll figure it all out. Let's go take a look at our 25-man rosters, bet and prediction, and we've got another preview after this one. All right. Taking a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face. Starting with the away side, Green Bay. Again, not a lot that we can really gather from the transactions page for either side here. So again, take that with a grain of salt. I've done the best that I can with the team website roster pages and stuff. So just kind of go from there. Max Myler, TJ Davis for the quarterbacks. TJ Davis will probably slot into the wide receiver spot at some point. Max Myler, most likely your starting quarterback. Kamani Clark, the only running back on the list. And then for the wide receivers, Andre Williams, Zane Lewis, Lowell Patron, and Harry Ballard. On the offensive line, Jake Parks, Roderick Williams, Justice Smith, and Andrew Carter. Defensively for the Blizzard, Devin Rice, Sue Kamara, Tremont Lofton, Allen Henry, and Akeem Smith for the defensive line. Linebackers include Andre White and Jalen Johnson. And then for your secondary for the Blizzard, Nigel Canada, Mamadou Mbai, Kevin Ransom II, Gervin Hall, Isaiah Jacobs. That was a name I have not seen. I saw it on Green Bay's website. Haven't seen anything, so if that's a new signing, there you go. Kayla Jackson's number has changed from 13 to 20, so we kind of see a new number out there. And then near in Washington rounds out the secondary, number 21. Kicker is Andrew Mevis for the Blizzard, and there you have it for them. Over to Massachusetts. Quarterback position, Kenji Bahar is probably going to be your starter. Felix Harper as the backup. Running backs, Puka Williams will most likely get the start. Dominic Roberto was the backup. Wide receiving core, Teo Redding, Isaiah Coulter, Thomas Owens, and Isaac Zico. For the offensive line, Nick Ford, Jordan McRae, Ryan Johnson, and Navon Donaldson. For the defensive side of the ball, Dominic Kewen, Jablonski Green Jr., Guy Thomas, DJ Dale, Terry Beckner Jr., and Afanya Maye. Linebacker is Sal Lapoli, which we'll see how that goes. I know on the roster page for Massachusetts, they do have Marquise Waters, number 9, as a linebacker defensive back hybrid, but Lapoli's kind of situated right there at linebacker. In the secondary, Matt Elam, the aforementioned Marquise Waters, Destin Mack, Marcus Floyd, and Ty Smith. Josh Gable rounds out your 25-man roster for Massachusetts. So there you have it for Massachusetts. There you have it for Green Bay. 25-man rosters apiece. Let's go take a look at our bet. Let's go take a look at our prediction and see what we can gather between these two teams. All right, so bet and prediction time, and this is kind of a tough one for me, mainly because I don't do trends or like this team has hit the over 5 straight weeks in a row. I literally bet this just kind of on vibes, and that's just how it goes. This one's going to be no different. I have Massachusetts money line plus 10 or plus 105. Reasoning, I just think that they are better. I know Green Bay is coming off a bye week, and I know Massachusetts had that win at Jacksonville, so they get to come back home and play Green Bay. But I like what Massachusetts has been able to do offensively. They've kind of rounded into form a little bit. The defense got a couple of takeaways against Jacksonville last week. This is kind of a different team that we saw instead of week 1 when Massachusetts played Jacksonville the first time. The Pirates have kind of gotten it all put together. All their coaches are in the places. The players are back in their places. They've gotten a little healthy. For Green Bay, that's not to say that they don't have a shot in this. They clearly do. They are on the road after a bye week, so anything can really happen. I'm just basing this off vibes. I think that win at Jacksonville for Massachusetts is going to give a little bit of confidence, and they're just going to do it again, man. They're going to come back home and win, at least in my opinion. Not shocked if Green Bay wins this at all, because Max Myler and company, they are very good. If Massachusetts can stop the run, and we know Myler, we know Clark, we know they're going to run it. They will do those high motion pitch outs that I love so much. They're going to throw the ball when they can, and we know that Green Bay's defense is easily up to the task. I think Green Bay's defense versus Massachusetts offense will probably be the key factor in this game. If they can get pressure on Bahar, if they can shut down the running game of Puka Williams and Bahar and all that stuff and make them kind of one-dimensional in that regard, I think that Green Bay easily has a shot in this. You know, they were leading Arizona by quite a bit. Arizona had to come back there at the end. So Green Bay just needs to close out these games, and we'll see if this is going to be any different. My prediction in this one, 47-42. It's a 5-point victory for the Pirates. Again, it's close in my opinion. It could go either way. It's just one of these games where I think Massachusetts just does 1 or 2 more plays that matter a little bit, and it could happen in like the second or third quarter where you're like, that shouldn't have an impact on the game, but it ends up having kind of an impact on the game. So that's just kind of how I have it. Like I said, not shocked one bit if Green Bay pulls out the victory, but that's where we have it right now. I do think Green Bay has the same talent level as Massachusetts right now, and they probably have a better roster, better equipped roster when it comes to this. Massachusetts will throw it on you. They will run it on you, just like Green Bay will. I think Green Bay's defense is a little bit better than Massachusetts' defense right now, but we'll just kind of see if that's what happens. If one defense is obviously better than the other, and I think Green Bay's probably stands the test of time there, Green Bay could win this one. However, I think there's something that Massachusetts just has right now. They've got momentum on their side. So plus 105 for Massachusetts money line, 47-42 Pirates at home. There's your prediction. There's your bet. Let's go take a look at preview number 2. All right, preview number 2, and we have the nightcap on Sunday. It is going to be a 9:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff. So if you are on the East Coast or Central Time, get your caffeine pills and let's have a fun time. The Sunday scaries can wait a little bit. The 1-2 Tucson Sugar Skulls taking on the 1-2 San Diego Strike Force. So kind of what we talked about, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, probably bet and prediction, but one team is going to be 1-3, staring down the barrel of a gun. Let's take a look at our season leaders. Passing yards, Jorge Reyna, 10 of 16, 109 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. So the only game he's played was last week, so not a lot of stats to show for. Nate Davis, 45 of 77, 393 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Your rushing leaders, Devontae Sapp-Lynch, 32 carries, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Larry McCammon, 17 carries, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown. Receiving leaders, Devontae Sapp-Lynch, 6 catches, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Rudy Johnson, 8 catches, 80 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, with that, Devontae Sapp-Lynch continues being the leading rusher and receiver for this team. We'll see if the offense just continues to go through him. Taking a look at our injury report, and boy howdy, do we still have MASH units for both of these guys as well. However, not a lot to report on when it comes to the injuries. Again, as I've said in every other preview leading up to this, take it with a grain of salt. We have to see what the Indoor Football League website updates their transactions and their rosters and stuff. They haven't done it in like 3 days. So we'll see what goes on there. Check teams' websites, social medias, what have you. This is the best that we can do, as accurate as I can get. So we'll see what changes there are. Taking a look at the game odds, over-under of 80.5. And San Diego is favored minus 4.5 at home. Minus 175 for the Strike Force if you want to bet them straight money line, and plus 145 for Tucson if you want to bet them when it comes to road money line. So a $10 bet nets you $14.50. You will get $24.50. So we are at the Front Wave Arena in Oceanside, California. 9:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network, and our head-to-head battles 4-3 in favor of the Strike Force, with San Diego winning their previous matchup, Week 15 of last season, 41-40. A very close game between the two last season, and yeah, that's how we just kind of have it. So, with that, let's go take a look at our 25-man rosters, our betting predictions, and we'll wrap everything up. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face, starting with the away side first. For Tucson, our quarterback situation, Jorge Reyna and Trip Harrington. Reyna most likely getting the start. Harrington did go out to the wide receiver position a couple of times. I think he started at the wide receiver position last week, so we'll see if it's more of the same. Running backs, Devontae Sapp-Lynch and Jameis Williams. Sapp-Lynch obviously gets the bulk of the carries and the bulk of the workload, but Williams did get in for a little bit. Wide receivers, Jerome Buckner, Drew Dixon, Alfonso Taylor, and Kevin Adams. And then our offensive line, Krikor Kostanian, Dallas Raines, Niamata Decor, and Darius James, along with Jermaine Donaldson. Defensively, Niles Gaddy, Trey Henry, DeJymin Brooks, and Jalen Stewart for the defensive line. Jaquez Jackson for your linebacker position. And in the secondary, Tariq Bracy, Brian Murray, Jalen Perkins, Gabe Amigatcher, and Kendricks Gladney Jr. Rounding out Tucson is your kicker, Kevin Macias, and that's what we have for our 25-man roster there. For San Diego, on the offensive side, Rudy Johnson and Nate Davis at the quarterback position. Rudy Johnson will be that Swiss Army knife, jack-of-all-trades style. Davis will most likely get the start. At the running back position, Larry McCammon and Trayvon Van. We'll kind of see if Van suits up or if McCammon suits up. They've kind of traded spots every once in a while, but McCammon is your leading rusher. Wide receivers, Journey Sloan, Dallas Daniels, Joe Nowden, and John Maldonado. And your offensive line for the Strike Force, Christian Olmstead, Jalen Booth, Josh Castro, and Jake Sines. Defensively for San Diego, Wallace Cowens, Jaquez Maben, Jalen Joyner, Penei Omoa, and Karat Garland. Linebacker is Royce C. And finally, the secondary, Jericho Flowers, Keyshawn Walker, Tycorian Brown, Eugene Ford, Atoa Fox, Elijah Reed. Ernesto Lacayo is your kicker. There's your 25-man roster for San Diego, your 25-man roster for Tucson. And with that, let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction, preview the game a little bit more, who we think is going to win. Let's move on. All right, bet and prediction time for the Tucson and San Diego game. This is just another toss-up for me. This one's tough, man, because it's been a couple of weeks, so recency bias kind of points me in the direction of Tucson, but I know San Diego did get their win against Vegas a couple weeks ago, had to come back in that one. However, plus 4.5 for Tucson to cover the spread and or win. I kind of like what I saw against against Northern Arizona last week. Now, granted, again, this is just a big old dose of recency bias, but having that quarterback and the defense that Tucson has had in the last couple of weeks, I kind of like where that is headed. San Diego has had a week to kind of get things straightened out, and I would not put it past the Strikeforce at home to kind of make more of the same. They did beat Vegas in Vegas, so maybe they're riding a little bit of a high, but that bye week maybe could have derailed them. I'm not sure. We'll just kind of see. Like I said, this is kind of a measuring stick game for both teams, because at the end of it, someone is going to be 2-2, someone's going to be 1-3. And kind of like what we talked about with San Antonio and Vegas, whoever loses that game, you're going to look at that and say, how did we start our season this way? And you're going to look at it for either of these teams saying, how did we start our season 1-3? Now, if you told me in the preseason that Tucson would be 1-3 to start the season, I would probably look at you and go, yeah, that's about accurate. If you told me that San Diego would be 1-3 to start the season, I'd look at you and go, what'd they do? You know, and that's kind of the thing. So I think the pressure might be on San Diego a little bit, at least in my opinion, because they are a playoff team from last year. They are a team that just beat Vegas. They are a team that you kind of have some high expectations for. Maybe not number one seed, maybe not championship caliber, but they've proven they can make the playoffs before. Tucson can as well, but the season that they had last year, if they win this game, they have already matched their win total of last season, right? So, I mean, it's just that kind of thing. I think Tucson can keep this game close. Tucson could pull the upset. Simple as that. But I do think San Diego does pull out this victory here. My prediction for this one, I have it 45-41. So you're barely covering that spread, just barely covering that spread. But I do think it's a close game. I do, just because I do not know how proven either team's offense truly is. Now, saying that, San Diego's offense looks a little more proven, but I like Tucson's defense. So I'm going to be looking at that matchup. How does Nate Davis exploit this defense? How do they get the running game going if they want to at all? How do they get those wide receivers involved now that they have John Maldonado and he has another week to work into that system? For Tucson, you had a good game against Northern Arizona last week. Jorge Reyno looked very, very good in that offense, and I am curious to see how he plays against a better defense. And I know San Diego doesn't have the defense that they had last year, but that secondary is still very good. That defensive line can still get pressure on you, and I like what I have with Royce C at the linebacker position for San Diego. So it will be interesting to see how this game progresses. But that's what I have it right here, plus 4.5 for Tucson, 45-41. San Diego still gets the victory, but Sugar Skulls cover the spread. So with that, let's go wrap everything up and get on out of here. And that is it for our Sunday preview in Week 6 between Green Bay and Massachusetts and Tucson and San Diego. So again, we've got two games within 6 hours of each other, give or take. So you'll still have some time to watch the Green Bay Massachusetts game, grab some dinner. Well, if you're in the Central Time Zone or maybe the Eastern Time Zone, and then, then you get to watch a nightcap. So that'll be kind of fun, and we'll see how everything goes from there. We'll have 4 games wrapped up by then from Saturday, and Week 6 will come and go in a flash. So with that being said, I'm going to take off here, guys. I love and appreciate every single one of you. If you feel like it, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do, doesn't matter to me. With that, I will see you guys for our recaps, and we'll just go right on into Week 7 as we just keep going further and further into this 2025 IFL season. So with that, love and appreciate every single one of you guys. See ya.